A very good evening to you and welcome to Idea TV News at 9. I am Cynthia Bazi. We begin with the headlines. FCCPC tightens grip on digital lenders as compliance deadline ends. DANGOTE refinery partners may sell petrol below 739 naira. Armed attack on Mali's MORILA gold mine. Burkina Faso foils plots to kill military leader. And away from Africa, Russia deploys naval escort, including submarine for oil tanker pursued by United States forces. In health, federal government urges consensus, budget backing in health sector negotiations. And in business, cashew nuts saw over 30% on AFEX in 2025. In sport, Liverpool confident ahead of Arsenal clash despite slow start. And now the news in full. Today, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, announced that 521 digital lending companies are now under its regulatory oversight. This follows the January 5, 2026 deadline for full compliance with the new Digital, Electronic, Online and Non-Traditional Consumer Lending Regulation 2025. Of the registered companies, 457 have received full approval, while 35 hold conditional approval. Another 29 lenders licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria and are also monitored by the Commission. Meanwhile, 103 unregistered loan apps remain on the FCCPC's watch list, facing potential sanctions, including fines, app delisting, or prosecution. The regulations aim to ensure transparency, fair lending practices, and consumer protection across Nigeria's fast-growing digital credit market. Key rules prohibit pre-authorized loans, unethical marketing, and unauthorized access to customer data while mandating clear loan terms and responsible lending. The FCCPC says enforcement begins immediately, signaling a stricter oversight era for digital lenders. And moving on, some independent marketers partnering with DANGOTE refinery may soon sell premium motor spirit or petrol for less than 730 naira per litre. The refinery began virtual training for staff of its affiliate retail outlets yesterday ahead of free direct deliveries to these stations. Companies joining the partnership include MRS, Adova Petroleum, Garima, Hayden, and Optimal. According to the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, profit margins between the refinery's gantry rate of 699 naira and the current pump price make it possible for marketers to reduce prices. In the Federal Capital Territory, petrol currently sells between 739 and 930 naira per litre. While MRS offers it as 739 naira, other retailers such as AA Rano and Total sell at high rates up to 920 naira per litre. In another news, armed men attacked the MORILA gold mine in southern Mali on Saturday, setting fire to equipment and briefly abducting 7 employees. Authorities say no one was killed during the incident. The Malian army was deployed and regained control of the site while the abducted workers were released the following day. Officials have linked the attackers to suspected jihadist groups. The MORILA mine, a major gold producer in Mali, is at the center of a new public-private partnership. In October, Mali's state-owned mining company signed an agreement with the U.S. firm Flagship Gold to restart operations at the site, following the departure of previous owners due to financial difficulties. Moving ahead, Burkina Faso authorities say they have foiled a plot to assassinate the country's military leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Security forces intercepted the operation just hours before it was set to unfold on Saturday night, January 3rd. The plot was allegedly orchestrated by former leader Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Damiba, who was ousted in September 2022. Officials say he mobilized both soldiers and civilians, secured funding from neighboring Ivory Coast, and planned to attack Traoré's residence before targeting other senior figures. Security Minister Mohamedou Sana said investigations are ongoing and several arrests have been made. He assured citizens that the situation is under control, urging them not to fall for dangerous schemes. Captain Traore, who has faced multiple coup attempts since taking power, remains in office and continues to have strong popular support. We'll now go on a quick break. The news continues when we return.
Number 10. Advanced cybersecurity with AI and quantum resistance. Cyber threats are growing as fast as the technology protecting against them. In 2023, the U.S. saw over 3,200 reported ransomware incidents, according to the FBI's IC3 report, a 74% increase from the year before. AI-driven cybersecurity tools are now being trained to spot anomalies in real time, identifying breaches before they spread. At the same time, researchers are developing quantum-resistant encryption. The U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, has already selected new post-quantum cryptographic algorithms, preparing for a world where quantum computers could break today's encryption in seconds.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is Idea TV News at 9. Now the rest of the news. Away from Africa, Russia has dispatched at least one submarine and additional naval vessels into the North Atlantic to escort an oil tanker that United States forces have been tracking for weeks. The vessel, previously known as Bella 1 and now sailing under the name Marinera after being reflagged to Russia, is being shadowed by the U.S. Coast Guard amid allegations it breached U.S. sanctions related to oil shipment linked to Iran and Venezuela. The United States has pursued the tanker since December after a boarding attempt in the Caribbean was repelled, and Washington says it intends to seize the ship under sanctions enforcement. The tanker turned northwest across the Atlantic with its position tracked near Iceland, drawing intensified surveillance by U.S. and allied aircraft. Moscow says the vessel is in international waters under the Russian flag and has expressed concern over the U.S. and NATO attention, while Washington maintains its pursuit. The situation marks a notable escalation in maritime tensions between Russia and the United States over sanctions and freedom of navigation. And now moving to health news, the federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to consensus building and budget-backed agreements in resolving disputes in the health sector. Speaking to a television channel, the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaq Adekunle Salako, said hurried deals reached during strikes have repeatedly failed in the past. He emphasized the collective bargaining with all stakeholders ensures sustainable outcomes and prevent repeated industrial action. Dr. Salako cited the withdrawal of a professional allowance circular in July last year as an example of the revised approach. Doctors initially rejected the circular and threatened strike action, prompting the government to reconvene talks with all parties. By November, a revised circular was agreed upon and widely accepted, demonstrating the value of building consensus before implementing policy changes. Addressing current tensions, the minister said issues such as entry points under the consolidated medical salary structure and professional allowances have been carefully considered. He stressed that all government agencies, including the Budget Office and National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission, must align on decisions to avoid confusion. On disciplinary cases involving doctors in Kogi State, he clarified that the action were misconducted or misconduct-related, not union-linked, and some reinstatements have been recommended following review. Now in business news, cashew nuts have emerged as the only commodity to record gains on the AFEX Commodities Exchange in 2025, rising more than 30% to close the year at 1,628 naira per kilogram. Other major staples including maize, paddy rice, cocoa, and wheat all saw significant declines. The commodity opened the year between 1,230 and 1,270 naira per kilogram, reaching a peak of 2,080 naira in July before easing to year-end levels around 1,600 naira. Analysts say strong market demand sustained prices even as broader commodity yields fell. Globally, the cashew market continues to expand, driven by rising demand for nutritious snacks, plant-based products, and healthier diets. On AFEX, raw cashew nuts are traded with cash settlements, highlighting their appeal as a resilient, demand-driven agricultural investment. And now finally in sport, Liverpool manager Ernest Lott says his team can still achieve special things this season as they prepare to face Premier League leaders Arsenal on Thursday at the Emirates Stadium. The reigning champions sit fourth in the table, 14 points behind Arsenal, following a mixed start to their title defense. Liverpool have been unbeaten in their last 9 games across all competitions, although that run includes 4 draws. Slots acknowledged the team's inconsistency, citing goalless draws with Leeds and the 2-2 result against Fulham earlier this year. Despite recent setbacks, Liverpool have shown their potential with notable wins over Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and a 5-1 victory at Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League. Slot remains optimistic, saying if his full squad is fit and ready, the team is capable of achieving remarkable results. And that's all we have for you on Idea TV News at 9. But before we go, here is a rundown of the headlines. We brought you news that FCCPC tightens grip on digital lenders as compliance deadline ends. We also brought you news that Dangote refinery partners may sell petrol below 739 naira. Armed attack on Mali's MORILA gold mine. And in Burkina Faso foils plot to kill military leaders. Away from Africa, Russia deploys naval escort including marine for oil tanker pursued by United States forces. In health, federal government urges consensus budget backing in health sector negotiations. And while in business, cashew nuts saw over 30% on AFEX in 2025. And lastly, in sport, Liverpool confident ahead of Arsenal clash despite slow start. And now, do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms at Idea Television. I am Cynthia Bassi. Thank you for your time.